we go. Okay, guys. Thank you for the reminder. Okay, so we are recording, and let me put the links back in the chat box because I know somebody just joined us, so you can follow along. Okay, so there are 4 options when it's time to go into Skyward. This will be January 6th. So it's right after we return from the winter break. The magnet window opens to apply to new programs or to keep your seat in your current program. You'll see 4 options in Skyward. You can continue in your child's current program. That means I'm glad my kid's an MST student. I want them to stay an MST student and go to Jackson. Okay. The second option is I want to hold seat in current program and apply for a new program. So maybe you're interested in switching, going to Austin or going to Brandenburg, but just in case, like let's say they don't get chosen for that program, you want to keep their seat at Jackson. You would choose option number 2. If you just say, you know what, we don't want to do MST, we're not interested in Jackson at all, you can exit the current program and choose to apply for a new program. That's option number 3. And then lastly is you just want to exit my current program. Okay, so maybe you're just saying, you know what, we want to go to our neighborhood school. We're not interested in our kid, busing to a magnet choice. We're just going to exit all special programs and go to our neighborhood school. Okay, that would be choice number 4. Oops, hold on. Okay, so let's talk about the 4 main ones, okay? Austin Academy, we have a lot of parents that are interested in Austin. Okay, so let me tell you a little bit about Austin. They are the smallest middle school. They have about 900 to 1,000 students. To qualify, your child has to have a combined test score at least 250. And this is what they look at. They look at the COGAT, the highest percentile rank of COGAT. Your child tested in 3 areas in COGAT. And I believe COGAT reports just went home pretty recently. Your child did a verbal subtest, a nonverbal subtest, and a quantitative subtest. They look at all 3 of where they scored percentile rank, and they just take the highest one. Doesn't matter which one it was. Okay, so they'll take that score. Then they look at MAP. They will look at the last 3 testings of MAP, which was this last fall of 5th grade, spring of 4th grade, and winter of 4th grade. So the last 3 times they took the test, and they will take the highest score, the highest percentile rank, which is really nice because if your kiddo, maybe their score dipped after the summer, it's nice that they'll take the highest out of the 3. Okay. So they'll look at those 3 scores and they'll add them up. They have to be at least 250. No test score may be below a 75 percentile. And I talked about they do the last 3. Okay. To secure the seat, keep in mind that all Academy students, current Academy students that go to Kimberlin, Hillside, or Walnut Glen, they keep their magnet seat. Just like our MST students keep their seat at Jackson, the Walnut Glen, Kimberlin, and Hillside kids all get to keep their Academy seat to Austin, which means there are very few seats left over for all the other kids in the district who might be interested. Sometimes, I know one year it was like they only had 21 seats, or they might have like 35 seats left over. Keep in mind that Austin is like all the other magnet programs, which means some of the kids are invited in, but some of the kids are also from the neighborhood, the surrounding neighborhood. Okay, so that's why there's very limited seats. They are ranked by their score. Okay, so they'll look at all those 3 scores of your kids, the COGAT, the MAP, the MAP reading. They add those up and they just rank kids. So that if they have 50 kids apply that want a seat and they have 30 seats available, they go with the kid that got the top score all the way down to the 30th score. And that's how they get in. Most of the time, although 250 makes your kid eligible, most of the time the kids that get in have 280 or above. So it's pretty stiff competition to get into Austin. Okay. Why do people love it so much? Well, they do an advanced curriculum at Austin. So every middle school will have regular courses, which are your just regular sixth grade standards that every sixth grader must be taught. Every middle school offers an honors level, which is like a little bit more challenging, more rigorous, very similar to like what your kids are currently getting at Beaver, that higher level of learning. Austin is the only school that offers a third option, which is the enriched honors. This is going to be more like seventh grade work in sixth grade. Okay. So a lot of people find that to be, intriguing. They want their kids to be super challenged. It also gives kids an opportunity to take some high school classes in middle school, which means in high school they can take even more advanced classes. So that's one of the reasons that parents like that enriched honors. They have orchestra, piano, a pentathlon team, and they do the IB, some IB material. That's the International Baccalaureate in the middle school years. So lots of people are interested, but please keep in mind, it's very difficult to secure a seat there. I would say every year we have about 4 to 5 Beaver kids that do get a spot. So it's definitely possible. Also, I know from the counselors there that I'm friends with that they say our Beaver kids do very well being able to transition into those enriched honors classes. Just from personal experience, my 2 older kids went through Beaver and they both went to Austin. They both got a seat there. They both did very well. It's definitely a bigger workload, but Beaver kids are taught well and at that more rigorous level and handle it just fine. Okay, so that is Austin. All right, let's talk about Brandenburg. Okay, Brandenburg is a classical. It's actually the classical center at Brandenburg. And to qualify, students must get at least a 50th percentile or higher for math and reading and pass all of their STAR tests. Okay, people really like Brandenburg because they offer gymnastics and dance. They're the only middle school that does that. They have a robotics team. They do some extra computer things. They do piano, and they're an avid school. This is kind of over in the South Garland area. So if your kiddo qualified at MST, most likely they'll qualify at Brandenburg because it's a little bit lower than what we require. Okay, there's a link there in case you want any other information. And I've seen a couple of people log in after, so let me go ahead and put the links again if you want to follow along with us. Okay. All right, Jackson. Let's talk about Jackson. So this is where if your kiddo is currently an MST student, they will continue on to Jackson if they want to do MST. So it's the same requirements that we have. They have to be in the 75th percentile or higher for math, and map reading. They have to pass all their STAR tests. Their report cards have to be over an 80 in science and math and passing everything else. And they cannot have any major behavior issues. Jackson has some really cool programs like forensics. They have a course called PLTW. I can't remember the P, but it's like lighting the way, path to lighting the way course, which is like a beginning engineering and design course. They do a lot of stuff with STEM. They have a cool house system where they can like earn points based on their house. And they have a lot of leadership opportunities and experiences that are offered. Project Lead the Way. Thank you. That was it. Yes, they have a really cool like principal advisory committee. Their principal over there is Mr. Dunphy, and he is a true believer in leadership. So that's really cool to see our Beaver kids go on to be school leaders over in middle school. So definitely they have a great program. Your child, if they are a magnet student at Jackson, they will be in MST courses, math specific and science specific to MST. Okay. All right. Sellers is a global business, language, and leadership middle school. So they really focus on leadership. I want to say that they do like international business focus where like kids can learn Chinese and like learning how to have a global, be marketable in the global environment. They have to be scoring at the 50th percentile or higher for math, and reading, passing all their grades, passing their STAR test, no major behavioral issues. Here we go. They do have a program for Mandarin Chinese, business marketing, and finance. They do a lot of technology and also leadership development. So kind of a different, twist on some cool things that your kids can learn. Okay. All right. So the way, thank you. Thank you for explaining that. The way that magnet seats work is that at Jackson, Brandenburg, and Sellers, all the kids that have that magnet position, like I said, will keep their magnet seat. So MST kids have the option to continue. Anyone else, like let's say, for example, that your kid is currently a neighborhood student, but scored high enough to become a magnet student at Jackson, they would be put into a lottery. So all of those open seats, names, if kids are eligible, names go in a hat and they pull however many names they have seats for. Okay. If you don't get pulled, they'll let you know you're put on a wait list. So it's a little bit different than Austin. Remember, Austin ranks by score. Okay. But Jackson, Brandenburg, and Sellers all do the lottery system by chance. Okay. As long as you meet the requirements, you have a chance to be pulled in the lottery for those schools. Okay. Wait list is usually the first 2 weeks of school. They're constantly, there's lots of changes that happen over the summer. So let's say you get put on the wait list for Jackson or for Austin. They're constantly calling off of that wait list the first couple of weeks of school because people move or decide on different programs and things like that. So if you do get on a wait list of a school that you're really hoping for, I would ask what number you are because that'll help you know if you want to, if you have a good shot at getting a seat or not. Okay. Here is the web address for the magnet programs and their information and email. So make sure you have that because they're going to be your experts to ask. Okay. Thank you. All right. Here's the timeline. Basically, you have from the 6th, January 6th to the 18th to choose one of those options. If you want to apply, if you want to hold your seat, if you want to exit, you have from the 6th to the 18th of January to make that choice. It will be in Skyward. Okay, they're going to let you know what you got chosen for on February 9th. Okay, if you made the lottery or if you, keep your seat there or if you get in February 9th. And then you have until February 16th. You have a week to go in and say, yes, we want to accept that seat at that school. Okay. All right. Choice of school. So let's say that you're not interested in a magnet program. Choice of school will usually go by your proximity to the school. Okay. So that window is from January 6th to February 16th. This is where you choose your top 3 campuses and they try their best to give you your first choice. Now, this does not apply to magnet programs. So sometimes people think, oh, I'll apply and then I'll also put Austin, Jackson, Brandenburg for my choice of school. That's not going to work. What they'll do is if you go for magnet, that's going to be the first thing considered and choice of school really won't matter. So the only time choice of school really comes into play is if you just choose to exit the magnet program. Okay. All right. And yes, it does go by your home address. They have to keep in mind how many actual physical seats they have at the school, student-teacher ratios, things like that. They also consider siblings when it's a choice of school situation. Okay, let's talk about siblings for magnet. It is really hard to have kids at multiple schools. I know, because I got 3 kids at 3 different schools right now because of their age, and it's really tough, okay? If you have siblings that are both magnet and you're interested in the same program, they will look at that. But if you have one magnet student and one non-magnet student, then they do not look at families to place together. Okay. Basically, they have to both be magnet to have a higher priority for a school. Okay. I hope that makes sense. If one is magnet and one is not magnet, then they don't have any kind of priority. Able to hold your seat before? No, the window does not open till January 6th to go. You can't even get in to choose anything right now. Okay, choice of school recommendation. So remember that there are neighborhood seats at magnet campuses. Okay. When we talk about Austin, they have 85 of those neighborhood seats. Y'all, you have to be really close to get a regular seat at Austin or Jackson and Brandenburg, because those schools fill up so fast because they offer so many cool things that they really say you have to live like within visual distance to get a seat there. So just keep that in mind. If you don't get a seat at your choice of school spot, it could be because you just live a little bit too far from the campus. All right, so next steps will be after you choose what you want to do with your seat or apply for programs in January, February, they're going to let you know where you're placed, if you got in, if you didn't, if you made the wait list, and you go to accept. March, we will know where everybody is placed. Then we'll start discussing electives. Okay, so every middle school offers, your kiddo will take 8 classes. They have 7 that are mandated, like reading and science and math, but they do get to choose an elective like art, band, theater, or choir. Okay, so we'll start talking about that. And then also some schools offer some extra things beyond that. Okay, that all happens in March, so you don't have to worry about that right now. Okay. All right, question time. So let's see. And if we have any Spanish speaking questions in Espanol, you can ask. We have Miss Garcia here to help us answer. Okay. So I'm going to go back. I saw what's a major behavior issue. Yes, you're right. Ms. Garcia spoke to that. You want to go ahead?
I tried to answer whatever questions were in the chat already there. Behavior issues, like I said in there, it's determined by the frequency and the severity of the incidents. It really is, behavior is a little bit more looked at case by case. It's a little bit harder to say, hey, if you have a certain number, you're going to be, you're not going to be considered. So that's going to be more case by case.
Yeah.
But definitely frequency and severity of incidents.
Yes. How do you get off the wait list? Like, how do you get called? You can feel free to unmute too. Really, the
how
only
to not get on the wait list. How to not get on the wait list.
Oh, okay. So for Jackson, Brandenburg, and Sellers, okay, the way that you would not be on the wait list is if you get chosen in the lottery. Okay. For Austin, the way to not get on the wait list is if you score in some of those really high numbers, and that's how you get a seat. Okay. But there's really nothing you can do except hope that your scores are high enough or you get chosen.
Ms. Sinclair, I have a question. Sorry.
Yeah.
Say we choose Austin first, and then later decide, hey, let's just stick to Jackson. Okay. That's not possible, is it?
So what I would do is I would say, I want to hold on to my seat and apply for a new program. When it comes to February 9th, and they say, you have a seat at Austin, and you accept it, you are giving away the Jackson seat. Okay, so
the second part is acceptance. I can decline there and choose Jackson.
Yes. Yes. Just make sure to choose that second option that says, I want to hold my seat at Jackson and try for this one.
Got it. And then we have, February 6th or something like that, we have an option to accept it. That's where we can change our mind to go back to Jackson.
Yes, right? you have 1 week to think about it once you see what's being offered to you.
I see. I mean, quite frankly, the 290 for Austin is it really exaggerated? I mean, I just feel like it's, it's just blown out of proportion.
So high. I will say this.
Yeah.
Anything over 280s, I think your kiddo has a good chance. But just keep in mind, they're competing with all those other kids at all the neighborhood schools, right? And some of those kids are scoring 99th percentile, 98th percentile. So it's pretty stiff competition.
Yeah, a competition, I agree. But are the students in Austin have all 290 scores like we're expecting? No, right?
I would say if they're a magnet student taking enriched honors, it really depends on their work ethic.
Yeah.
I will say my daughter was a straight A student in Austin. My son could be a straight A student if he turned in his work. But, they become middle schoolers and they have the potential, but they don't always reach that potential.
Thank you.
Okay, if you
Thank
don't,
you, appreciate it.
You're welcome. If you don't hold your seat at Jackson Tech and you go to Beaver, is your seat automatically saved or will student service choice be for you? Okay, so, and you go to Beaver. Okay, so I think what you're asking, Noma, is if you're a magnet student at Beaver, you have a seat at Jackson, but you have to go in and say, I want to continue in the MST program. Okay, if you don't say you want to continue in the program, they're going to give away your seat. And then they'll just assign you to the closest school to your house, probably. Okay. So if you have a magnet spot, I would say, yes, I want to hold on to that seat. I hope that was clear. Anyone else have questions? How to apply for Austin? Oh, no problem. Yes. So on January 6th, you can go in, Mason, and choose in Skyward. If I were you, I would choose, I want to hold my seat at Jackson and apply for a new program so that you can try for Austin. And then they will let you know. The window is from January 6th to January 18th. They'll let you know on February 9th if you did get the spot at Austin. Okay. And then if you did get it, then great. If you didn't, then you will still have your seat at Jackson. Anyone else? And I also, Mason, recorded this, so we'll send out the link on YouTube, okay? So you can catch up with what you missed. Anyone else have any other questions? It can be in English or in Espanol. And you can unmute. You don't have to type it in.
Miss Sinclair?
Yes.
The 250 base score, I know you said it's based off of the COGAT and the MAP reading and math, but what numbers are you pulling from those results?
So they are pulling the percentile rank.
Okay.
So if you look at your reports, like the teachers have sent home, and if you need help, like if you just want to say, Miss Sinclair, will you add up our score and let me know? Just email me. I can do that for you.
Okay.
But yes, it's I think on COGAT, it's called APR, age percentile rank. Okay. And then on the MAP score, you'll kind of see like a little range of numbers and it'll be that middle bolded number.
Okay.
Okay. But yes, shoot me your kiddos, information and I can always do that for you.
So for the COGAT, it's the 3 APR totaled with the MAP reading and math.
Yes, those are the 3 scores. And and they just take the highest percentile rank from COGAT. It could be in any subtest.
Ms. Sinclair?
Yes.
How many students from Beaver would be qualified at the top 90 percentile to say total 295, 296 in the Beaver students?
It's definitely going to be like, I don't know. What do you think, Ms. Garcia? We have a lot of really high scoring kids. I mean, we have one of the highest gifted populations outside of the academies. I'm not, I probably couldn't give you a number.
No, it's hard to know, but I would definitely say when math testing comes around, regardless this year or in the future moving forward, even when they're in middle school, map testing is really important for the students to show what they know. And there are times, like Miss Sinclair said, it's great that they take the last 3 map scores, because if your kid, maybe had a hard day of testing that day, it really looks at it. But it's hard to say like the percentage of exactly how many kids, but we have some really high kids for sure. I mean, absolutely.
I mean, I'd say like the 10%, 10% of the 8 to 10% of the kids in 5th grade are probably that high, which would be about 10 to 12. And then you think about, those 10 might, if they're interested in Austin, apply, and maybe 5 get in.
Say for example, the total amount of students in Beaver that would have a perfect score of 297. How many will possibly they have in the Beaver?
Yeah, I would say just a couple probably that would be at 297, because that's a 99 across the board, right? So, that'd probably be 1 to 3, maybe.
So you think it's 289, 288, 289 would be acceptable?
Yes, I do. Really, anything over 280 is a very good chance to get a seat.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, and of course, over 290 is like almost guaranteed. But again, it just really depends how many seats they have available. Some years it's a little more, some years less.
How do they calculate that, Ms. Sinclair? Is there like a particular percentage that's allocated for the local? Was that the same area? And then next.
So it would be those 3 scores. So the highest percentile rank of COGAT, the highest on math in the last 3 test administrations, and then same for reading, map reading. So yeah, if you're interested and you want me to calculate Ronav's score, I can for you. You can
No. I'm not talking about the score. Oh. The percentage of seat that would Austin have after they fill from the other schools and after they fill the local neighborhood. Will that be like 10 seats, or what is that?
I got you. So I know the year my son got in, there were 21 seats, and he's an 8th grader now. So they have about 900 students, a little over 900. So I'd say like 300 6th graders. And you think about there's 3 academies. So, I mean, a lot of those, yeah. I'd say some years it's probably between like 20 and 40 to 50 open. And then just really depends, like if people move, if people choose another program.
Right. We never talked about sports in all the particular schools. Any insight on which one would be better for sports?
For
sports, like football or
Yeah, that's a great question. Starting in 7th grade, kids can start signing up for athletics. Miss Garcia, do you know which teams are like? I don't go to a lot of the sporting games. My kid was on the football team, y'all, and he literally played an 11-second in the game, and then he was like, "I'm done." So I'm not the best person to ask.
So no Austin on football.
I kind of say, Austin's got all the nerds, so they might not be like the most athletic kids.
Yeah. But I will say, as far as sports goes, Miss Sinclair is correct. 6th grade, there is not a football team. Mm-hmm. There really aren't teams. Once we get to middle school, 7th and 8th grade is when you're playing. Most everybody's going to have football. Everybody's going to have track.
Soccer.
And I don't know if everybody has a soccer team though. Do they in middle school?
I think so. And basketball.
So those are going to be your 4 main sports as far as across any campus. Then what will happen is middle school is when the kids are kind of like, what a coach is looking for more so than ability is coachability, right? Like, are they coachable? Are they passing? Are you going to play? Those kids then get what you're really looking for is your high school program.
Right.
So the high schools will come look at middle schools to kind of say, we'd love to have you come this way, or make sure you check out so-and-so high school. In middle school, there are, I mean, I feel like a lot of them are going to be similar. There's not going to be like a
stand out. Okay.
Stand out, yeah.
Not yet. What's going to stand out truly in middle school is going to be each student.
Yeah.
Okay. And I will say this, it's also considered fine arts. So you can start looking at the websites of the different schools, because there are some that have some really amazing fine arts programs. And, you know, I can vouch for Austin because that's where my kids went. Their band director is amazing. She's been there for, 35 years. My kids have gotten really cool opportunities to, like my son's going to Chicago on Sunday to play with the jazz band, things like that. So I would start like checking out their fine arts too, because their choir programs, their band, their theater programs, that's where really the kids love and shine, is in those electives.
Correct. Okay. Thank you. It is kind of confusing. It's very hard decision. There's only two options, but you know.
Yes, there's so, I mean, that's the these transition years in Garland, it's like such a blessing to be able to choose, but it is really tough too.
Yeah. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, you're welcome. Jackson does have orchestra. Yes. Mr. Nag, the band director at Sellers, is amazing. Ooh, good to know. Good to know. All right. Any other questions? These are great questions. Don't be shy. Now's your time to ask. You've got our focus.
So who's Nag? I'm sorry. Who was Nag?
That looks like the band director at Sellers.
Sellers, okay.
Yes. It's amazing. Anyone else? Keep in mind, you know, here's my email. You can always email me. Map scores, the score. Yes. So it's there. Let me just, let me see. So it's going to be their, it's not their RIT score. So it's not like the triple digit 216. It's not that score. It's the percentile rank. So you'll see,
I'm sorry. Do you want me to pull up a sample map report?
That would be great.
I'm going to pull one up. That way I can share it and we can really look at it together.
Yes. It is a percentile. We'll pull one up for you. Yes. And I'm going to put my email here in the chat. So if you have any specific questions, and keep in mind, I might, you know, if I can't answer it, I'll forward it on to the magnet department for you. Anyone else have a question? And while Ms. Garcia pulls that up for us. Anyway, to which schools during the year? Mason, I'm not quite sure what you're asking. You can unmute if you want. Oh, switch. Is it maybe switch schools? You're welcome. Thank you for joining us. To switch schools, maybe?
Yeah.
Okay. So when you accept the magnet seat, they want you to commit for 1 year. Okay. So when you choose that seat, you really got to stick with that program for a year. But if you don't like it after a year, every year you get to choose a new program if you'd like to. Okay. So sometimes kids don't get a seat at the seat they want, at the school they want. They can always try again in 7th grade. Okay. To go to Jackson, can you go automatically because you went to Beaver? Only, New Hammond, only if you're a magnet student. Okay. And if you're not sure, I can check that for you tomorrow. You're welcome, Ms. Wynn. Yeah. Only magnet students get an automatic seat to Jackson. Okay.
Okay, this one I found online. I have no idea who Marcus Ray is, but according to this report, he is in 9th grade. Okay, so we're just going to look at 3rd, 4th, and 5th. Can you see that?
Uh-huh.
Okay, is this one helpful? Will this work?
Yes. Okay, so if you will, there, yeah, if you can.
Sorry, is it possible to zoom in? Yeah, I was just going to say, thank you.
Okay. So if you look here, this last row, y'all cannot see, I'm doing it with my mouse, but that doesn't show up on hers. This last row that says percentile range, you'll see that bolded number in the middle. That is the number that they're looking at. Okay, so for example, if we were looking at Marcus's, we would look at the last three. So that would be the 34, the 40, and the 48. We would go with the highest one. Marcus would not have a great chance to get into Austin, unfortunately. He needs to have them in the 90s, probably. Does that answer it, Ms. Turkett? All right. Anyone else? Thank you, Ms. Garcia, for pulling that up.
How many middle schools are you allowed to choose?
Ooh, good question. That I am not sure.
Does it not let you do 3 options anymore?
I am not sure, but I will say this. You will only see the middle schools that you qualify for. But I'm not sure. I can't remember. I know in the past they let you choose a couple.
Okay, thank you.
Sorry, I don't have a clear answer on that.
Sorry, I was in Skyward looking for. So the only form that I see in Skyward is I guess it's probably like a summary page. It does not have that example that you just showed us, that graph. Okay. And so, yeah.
The teachers can always send a copy of that home to you, and they usually share that during parent-teacher conferences.
Yeah.
On Skyward, it's going to show you just numbers. I think all you're going to see in Skyward are just the numbers. You're looking for the percent. If you look in Skyward, it should say when you click on your student's map, it'll say NWEA map scores. And then it should say, when you click it, it'll tell you the subject. And then when you look on there, it'll say test percent. That's the percent you're looking at.
Okay. That's what I thought. Okay.
Yes. And that number, the percent number, is going to fall between 0 and 100%. You'll see test RIT score. That number is not going to be 0 to 100. That one's right.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. That's so helpful. Thank y'all so much for doing this.
Of course. Of course.
Any other questions? Can MS students get chance to Austin? Yes, you can, but you have to apply for a new program. So you would choose hold my seat in my current program and apply for a new program. And then it would be based on your test scores, the COGAT, math, and MAP reading. And then remember, they rank you based on your score. So I can help any parent. You want to shoot me their name, I can add it up for you so you have an idea. Any other questions?
Ms. Sinclair,
Yes.
I will send you an email asking for my son for the total score of the.
Perfect.
So I want to apply for him for the Austin Academy. I'm wondering, is he qualified for it?
Yeah. I'm kind of biased, I liked it as a parent because it's a smaller school and, I was comfortable with that, but I will say for my third kiddo, I don't think he has the scores to qualify for Austin. So I'm very thrilled that he'll have a seat at Jackson because they have a really great program too. And they offer things that Austin doesn't, like forensics and the engineering things. So, every program, you just have to really know your kiddo and what their interests are.
Okay. Thank you, madam.
You're welcome. Jackson Middle School is one of the bigger middle schools. I think they're tied with Hudson for most kiddos. So they have about 1,300 students. All right, what will happen if you get declined from your first school option? So if you hold your current seat, then you will have a seat at Jackson. And then they may put you on a wait list if you want to be on a wait list for the other school.
Miss Sinclair, I know a lot of people are interested in Austin because of the different levels of the academics. It is important to remind everybody that every middle school, whether it's your home campus or whether it's one of the magnets, still offers honors courses.
Yes.
It's still going to offer you the opportunity to maybe to take like Algebra 1 in middle school.
Mm-hmm.
All middle schools offer that. So at every middle school that you go to, regardless of Austin or anywhere else, there will be a group of students or a big group. I don't want to say like 10 kids. It's going to be students who are going to be honors course students who are going to be taking those courses as well. That's everywhere. So don't feel like, hey, if my kid doesn't get into Austin, then what are they going to do? They're going to get subpar curriculum. That's not the case either.
Jackson does MST math. So it is an enriched course. It is more rigorous, but it's not part of the enriched honors. They call it MST math, which would be like an honors level or possibly even a little bit more challenging. What is the total score of your MAP test that's enough to get into a magnet school like Jackson? Great question. So you just have to be above the 75th percentile. As long as you're 75 or higher, you're eligible. They don't rank like Austin does, so you don't have to worry about like being the highest. It just has to be over 75. That middle score that we look at. The
Sorry,
poor
one more
Mark
question.
on his test, he wouldn't be eligible for Jackson either.
Sorry, one more question, guys. The IB program in Austin, what is the equivalent that is close in Jackson? They talk more about their IB program. They wanted to see if Jackson has something similar or more equivalent or more better.
So what I understand is that IB is a certain type of teaching. It's like a different method of teaching that gets them ready for the IB program at Garland. And that IB are courses that could be accepted at universities all around the world. So Jackson would not have, they don't use IB because their feeder school, North Garland, doesn't offer the IB program. But IB, it's a lot of work, a lot of extra work. Just keep that in mind.
Okay.
With along those same lines, y'all gonna make me break out my old. I used to be a high school counselor before I came to elementary school as administration. So in middle school, like I was saying, every middle school, no matter where you go, you are going to be offered the option for students of honors courses and receiving high school credit in middle school. Okay. That's everybody. When they get to high school, now your options in high school are looking at IB program. You're looking at dual credit courses for your students. You're looking at AP courses for your students. There's so many options when you get to high school. Your middle school choice will not deter you from those options in high school. Okay. So I know that that's like another worry for parents when they're going into the middle school is how do I select right so that my kid gets these opportunities in high school? In high school, it changes again and it opens up even more and more. The idea behind high school is to set up the student in their whatever's best for them for college. If the kid is ready for earning high school credits and college credits and all of those things, let's do it. But there are so many options. So that's the other thing. I don't want, sometimes people believe, well, if my kid wasn't at Austin or at, one of these academies, then they're going to miss out on these opportunities in high school. That's not necessarily true. There's so many options. Yes.
Okay. Because when we went to Austin, that's how they projected it. You know what I mean? So the branding is there in Austin.
Yes, it is. And they do a great job.
Yeah, that's right. I didn't want to fall for it, but it's a concern, right?
No, I was a high school counselor at Lakeview, and we were one of the first high schools that had the collegiate academy. Okay. And that's for students who are going to earn their associate's degrees in high school. So you're earning your high school diploma and your associate's degree at the same time. Okay. And our branding was also spectacular, right? We were selling that. And, but there are so many options you know, it's not a one size fits all, and you will not miss out on opportunities. It really is doing things like this, staying informed. How can I best help my student? What's going to work best for their student? And it's very important, like Miss Sinclair said, to know, hey, my kid, he wants all the work. She wants all the work. She wants to be challenged. Or I have another kid who maybe is going to be more athletic inclined or fine arts. It's okay.
Yep.
It's okay.
I will say this. I have kids at every level, high school, middle, and elementary. My daughter's a senior this year, and so she did MSP all through Beaver as an elementary kid. Great opportunities. Made her a super well-rounded kiddo. She can work with anybody. Very smart kid. She went to Austin because we were just ready for a little bit of a change. She thrived there in the fine arts program. We decided not to go to Garland and do the IB because I wanted her to be a kid and not be saddled with a lot of work. We declined all magnet seats and went to our neighborhood school in Saxe. Been super pleased there as well. She's in the top 10% of her class. She's earning AP courses, dual credit courses. She'll go to college with credits. So we've been in MST, Academy, and neighborhood. All great opportunities because Garland just offers so many great things no matter where you're at. So I don't feel like we got gypped anywhere. You know, it was a great experience, whatever we chose.
Okay, so just keep it simple. Okay.
Yeah. And you're right. It's not just about working hard wherever you're at, right? That's what we want our kids to do.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Great question. Okay, I see another one in the chat about what about GT? We received a letter from school. GT stands for gifted and talented. Does Austin have gifted and talented? So any school you go to, the gifted and talented program is district wide. It is not just at the academies or just at MST. Teachers are trained at every school to be able to service gifted and talented students. Now at Austin, they have a higher percentage of gifted and talented students due to it being an academy. But if your student is gifted, it really doesn't like give you an edge or give you an automatic seat. Just know that whatever teacher your student has been trained to know how to teach with depth and complexity and at a rigorous level. Okay. Credits, when I said college credit, I meant that she would be entering college already having some getting credit for the high school classes that she took because they were dual credit. So we'll go in having some already paid for and done, and she gets credit for it even and doesn't have to take it again in college. Mandarin was mentioned at Sellers. Are there other languages taught as well? Yes, every school is going to offer Spanish, French. Some will offer sign language. I'm trying to think of if there's anything else, French and Spanish. It might just be French and Spanish at middle school and then and Mandarin at Sellers. And then it may open up after that. But I know like there's American Sign Language at Saxe High School. Yep. And then a lot of times kiddos will have the opportunity to take Spanish 1 their 7th or 8th grade year and kind of get a head start so they can take advanced languages in high school.
So that's a perfect example with languages. So for example, when your child gets to high school, the state of Texas requires every student in high school to take 2 years of a foreign language. It doesn't matter which one. And so every middle school, no matter where you are, will give the students the opportunity to maybe take at least one of those years in middle school. So that takes a course off of your high school load, and students are able to take that even at the middle school level. So that's a perfect example because that is not based on magnet or anything like that. That is every campus, every middle school campus.
Okay. Thank you about the French in Austin. Thank you. I didn't realize that. Swimming, I believe right now it's only at the high school level. And I believe every high school offers a swim team. So if I'm not mistaken, they go to the natatorium and that's where they do their practices and things like that. But that could change. You never know. All right, y'all. Well, we are nearing 7 o'clock. We want to say thank you so much for joining us. I hope this shed some light and made the process a little bit easier for you. Don't hesitate to reach out if you have any questions. And just remember that big date of January 6th through January 18th to make your selections. All right. We appreciate you all. And I will send out this recording link so that you can have it in case you need to look at anything again. You're welcome. Thank you. You're welcome.
Thank you. Take care.
Thank you, Ms.
And
Sinclair.
have a great
Thank you,
break.
Ms. Garcia. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Garcia, for joining us.
Of course, I enjoyed it. You made me break out my old counseling brain. I was like, oh my gosh, I haven't dust
I
off
used
the
you.
cobwebs.
I thought I needed you for Spanish, but I needed you for more of those secondary questions, which is good.
My brain went into shock for a minute, Miss Sinclair.
All right. Thank you, guys. Y'all have a good evening. I haven't had my dinner yet, so I'm going to log out so I can eat. Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye.
Stop the recording.
Oh, sorry. I left my phone and I went to pick up my dog. Sorry. Thank you so